Did you see those three things that are wonderful that have come to pass to support America? First of all, the Supreme Court came out with their decision on the Louisiana versus Calais issue on racial gerrymandering. And then in Florida, the House and the Senate passed redistricting. And then the third decision was by the Supreme Court of the state of Virginia, upholding the lower court decision to temporarily, at least, not certify the results of the vote with regard to their redistricting efforts. Hello everybody, and welcome to South Florida and our Tiki Hut. Let's go over these items using numbers. Several months ago I put out a video with regard to my prediction with regard to the 2026 House elections. And let's use those numbers to see how things have changed over the last, say, 6 months. So here's my notes, some of my notes from many months ago. So I had thought that California was going to get 5 seats. I was wrong. It looks like the redistricting effort in California is going to give them an additional 6 seats for Democrats. But that's okay, because in Florida, I thought that Florida was going to get 3 seats for the Republicans, but now it looks like 4 seats are going to go to Republicans, so that's a wash. Utah, because of the internal Utah state mandated lawsuits and stuff like that, they're going to get 1, and that's going to be that way, 1 more for the Democrat. Texas, I had estimated 5 seats for Republicans coming out of the Texas redistricting, and it looks like that's accurate, still accurate. Missouri has redistricted, 1 more seat for the Republicans there, that's occurred. Indiana, there was thought about that. Remember, President Trump was upset with the head of the Senate for the Indiana state, and having said that, nothing from Indiana. Ohio, I really didn't know what there was going to be there, but it looks like 2 more for Republicans in Ohio because they have redistricted. Then we have nothing in South Carolina, and in Virginia, I thought they were going to get 4 by redistricting. If they do redistrict, if everything is authorized, but if it is, let's assume that for worst case, they gain 5. And in Maryland, I thought they were going to get 1 for the Democrats, and it looks like they're still going to do that. Maybe. So in actuality, Florida and California is a wash, and I was in error for Virginia because I was down by 1. So if you add up Texas 5, Missouri 1, Florida 4, Ohio 2, that gives you 12 seats added for the Republicans coming out of redistricting. And for the Democrats, you get 6 out of California, 5 out of Virginia, and for worst case scenario discussion, 1 from Maryland. But I forgot Utah. So that's another 1, so that makes a total of 13 for the Democrats and 12 for the Republicans. But hold your horses. The Supreme Court said racial gerrymandering, and appropriately so, is unconstitutional, a violation of 1 person, 1 vote. Louisiana has to redistrict because that was what the lawsuit was all about. So they'll get rid of at least 1 racially gerrymandered district, but they'll probably, at least I think so, we'll get rid of 2. Mississippi has already said that they're going to be redistricting also after the Supreme Court decision, so that gives another 1 for the Republicans. That leaves up in the air 2 other states, Alabama and Tennessee. Alabama, I haven't found out anything yet, but Tennessee, I know that there's noise, especially coming from Senator Blackburn, who's running for governor in the state of Tennessee. She's already called for the House and the Senate, hoping that they go back into session and do a redistricting there. If you assume, stop the presses, it looks like Tennessee will probably be redistricting. Another 1 for the Republicans. So 2 in Louisiana, 1 in Mississippi, and 1 in Tennessee. A gain of 4 for the Republicans after the Supreme Court decision. But it could be as many as 5 seats for the Republicans. Even though the press seems to be saying 20 seats could be gained by the Republicans after the Supreme Court decision, based upon what we know right now for certain, I believe the number is at least 4 and maybe as much as 5. But we can count on 4. So from the normal redistricting, that's +1 for the Democrats. But with getting rid of racial gerrymandering, the Republicans gained 4 more, which means a total of 3 in the Republicans' favor. So to restate, after all the efforts for redistricting, the Republicans have gained 3 seats, pending maybe some additional stuff going the Republicans' way. But wait, what about the normal to and fro of regular elections? Now there's also the normal switcheroo between Republicans and Democrats, Democrats and Republicans that occurs sometimes in every election. You know, just the normal changes of population, people being ticked off about things, for example, like the Kansas City Chiefs moving out of Missouri and that type of thing. So what was the result of my intensive review about these congressional districts that might be swapping? At a minimum, there were 7 Democrat seats going Republican, at least in my book, and there were 3 seats going from Republican to Democrats. Now, obviously, we got to have the turnout. Obviously, the turnout is a big deal. But assuming that people are ticked off enough about the stupidity of the Democrats, such as the DHS shutdown and the Trump derangement syndrome, plus all the victories that President Trump is having, amazing positive things are occurring. Yes, it is true that the price of gas and diesel is up, but you know what? Most Americans who are pro-American, pro-protect a United States of America, recognize the threat that Iran was. Getting rid of the Iranian threat, however we do it, is fantastic. So I think overall, pro-United States people will be pro-Trump, pro-Republican. We also have Speaker Johnson. He's an amazing guy to have on our side. It's wonderful. So bottom line is, I actually think that just based upon redistricting, then we gain seats in the House. And then if we throw into the mix the possible, probable changes from Republican to Democrat and Democrat to Republican based upon retirees and that type of thing, as of right now, it's a gain of at least 4 more seats for the Republicans. Now, if we do best case scenario, in just the rigmarole of going left to right, right to left in these districts, it could be as good as 10. But if we do the best case scenario, we go back to the redistricting efforts. Virginia never gets authorized by the state Supreme Court. They recognize the fact appropriately that it is a violation of the state constitution in Virginia to have done what they did, which means they lose those seats. The Republicans keep them. Let's say Maryland doesn't redistrict, then that means the Democrats don't gain that 1 Republican district still in Maryland. So that's a total of 6 more seats that remain Republican. That's pretty good. So worst case scenario, +3 for Republicans from all the redistricting efforts, including the post-Supreme Court decision redistricting, and +4 from the normal swapping back and forth between Republicans and Democrats. So that's a total of 7 gain for the Republican. And best case scenario for the Republicans, for conservatives, for the United States, is that the Virginia State Supreme Court recognizes appropriately that the redistricting effort was a violation. And best case also is that Maryland doesn't redistrict. So between the 2 of them, that's a retention of 6 seats by the Republicans that we had assumed they were going to lose. That means redistricting efforts would actually give Republicans 9 more seats. And then you add in my belief that there's going to be 3 more seats probably going from Democrat to Republican in the normal routine way that they do. 12 more seats in the House for the Republicans. Banner day yesterday, like I said. Supreme Court decision, fantastic, follows the Constitution. No DEI for House members, right? That's basically what that says. No DEI for House members, and everybody is equal. Wonderful decision. Florida, the state of Florida has passed the redistricting in the House and the Senate, so now Governor DeSantis will sign it. That's wonderful for all of us in Florida. And then number 3, the temporary stay by the state Supreme Court in Virginia, which hopefully will turn into a permanent one, but we can't assume that right now. Those 3 things are wonderful. So, thank you very much for watching this, everybody. Great news, right? Great news. God bless all 9 members of the Supreme Court. And as the Texans say about 3 of them, bless their hearts. God bless you. God bless President Trump. And God bless the United States of America. And remember, pray for the military and keep them safe. Thank you for your time. Thank you for watching the Honor and Knowledge channel. Goodbye.